My name is Kushak. I was born in a city called Pune. I grew up in a city called Mumbai in India, in a lovely state called Maharashtra. My mother was a bit of a rebel like me. She had a fantastic sense of humor. I think my sense of humor has just become a bit more edgy, but she had a beautiful sense of humor. My father used to travel a lot, so when it was growing up, it was me, my brother, and my mother. I think my house was irreligious. I think the best way to describe my house would be like a hippie commune. Everything was okay, everything was good as long as no one else got hurt. People from every background came to my house. My house was almost like a den for them, so whatever things are not allowed to do in their house, they used to come. It was literally a safe place for the rebels. I really did not think a lot about God. I don't really think it featured in any of our conversation. The only time I went to a temple was when I was dragged because it was Diwali or something like that. And the only time I went to church was, again, me being dragged for Christmas or Easter. There was a little bit of Catholicism in my life. There was a little bit of Hinduism, but I would generally put myself as a irritating agnostic, arm twisted to do most of the things that we did. One of the things that we grew up with was we were basically not welcome in any of the communities. We were always told that we were not good enough for the Christian community because we were not baptized, we were not christened, there was nothing of that side, and we were not really welcome in the Hindu community. So as a result, the running joke in our family was we might go to hell in two different religions. Just finishing school, I'd like to say I had a lot of plans, but I clearly did not. I kind of stumbled into a advertising course, and then I fell into a master's in marketing, which I did from England. So I stayed in England for about 2.5 years. My wife's side about the university, I don't know how much of this would you have to bleep. We were going to hell in two different religions anyway, so me and my brother both grew up in an environment where we just said, you know what, this is going to be the fun times, might as well enjoy this. So we kind of broke every rule in the book. And when I went to university, it just, there was no parental supervision, and we just went mental. We partied like crazy. We had a string of girlfriends, which were probably not a good idea. I've woken up next to strangers. It was living in the moment, not worrying about anything else. I think we came with an attitude that, as long as I'm hurting no one, what does it really matter? Oh man, I stumbled into hurting everyone. One of my girlfriends had a relationship of 5 years existing, which meant that broke up. I had crazy affairs with random people, I hurt a lot of people. But at that point in time, it was fair game. It was me not taking responsibility. I mean, I was not attached to anyone. They were, so it became their responsibility, right? And I did not force anyone into anything. They kind of consented to it, right? So, well, how is it my fault? I think looking back at it now, things could have been handled very differently. There are definitely concerns that I should have not done something. I remember waking up in the middle of nowhere, blind drunk. I could have easily hurt myself. I remember waking up next to my own vomit. Again, I could have choked on it. There are definitely moments when I realized I was just doing a tremendous amount of damage, not just to myself, but a lot of people around me. To the point where I encountered God at St. James, I think God kind of set that entire piece up a long time before. One of the biggest pillars in my life, which was my mother, who kind of looked bulletproof till that point in time, developed cancer in about 2006. Went in remission and then had a second bout, and the second bout was vociferous. She died very, very quickly. When we were towards the end of my mother's life, we had to actually put her in a hospice, and that's when we had to start going, mate, this is not going to go down well. And the priest showed up saying, you're dying, do you really want to not make good with God. And my mother had a hissy fit and I had a hissy fit going, can you not at least let the person die in peace? I was extremely angry against God. I was extremely angry against anything religious, because in my head it was either give me money or do that, otherwise you're going straight to hell. That period of my life was not very good. My mother passed away, my dad passed away. I got diagnosed with a chronic condition for which I have to take injections. And looking back, the accusation that I was making in that particular point is, why me? But I think the honest answer looking back at it was, the entire thing was being set up for me to kind of come to St. James. So in the end, I kind of decided to come to Australia. Again, I'd like to say there was a lot of planning there, but I don't really think there was. I just gave my details out to an agency and said, mate, can you process my residency? And they kind of came up to me and said, it's done. And I'm like, all right. Okay, I'll go to Australia. And that's when I met Warwick. I remember going any kind of religious place I visited, everyone would chuck holy water of different kinds onto my head. Very interesting that did not happen in St. James. I think I definitely had a slow encounter with God. I was not the one who had like a very sexy encounter with God. I was doing this before, and I was in a prison, and then now I suddenly stopped everything, and I'm good and clean. I think the moment that I kind of realized, had a bit of a realization with God, is when I'm sitting at St. James, sitting there. I was praying with Warwick at that point in time, kind of almost at tears, and I think there was this moment when I kind of realized, everything is going to be okay. God is in control. God is very sovereign, and He's got everything in hand. And I think that's when the actual switch happened. And I don't think what happens is a change in personality, but I think what the Holy Spirit does is give you a lens to view the same things from a perspective that God would want us to view. After encountering God, the only certainty I have is that He's sovereign. To think about how I've come back to St. James, it's been not just a couple of months or just one or two situations that have changed in my life. It's a work from, right from where I was born.